Hi, I'm Lottie. I'm from London, so I moved back here a few years ago after living away for a number of years. And in the process of me moving back, I had a friend tell me of his experience of the UK and London for the first time. He came here from Canada, a super lovely guy, and he said he arrived in London all thrilled and excited about his future here. But the first thing he did when he arrived was he sat on the tube, turned to the bloke sitting next to him, and tried to introduce himself. I don't think I need to tell you that did not go well at all. Londoners aren't particularly known for their warm and friendly demeanor towards strangers. So it probably comes as no surprise to you that actually, in a poll, Time Out found us to be one of the loneliest cities in the world to live in. And I have to admit, actually, this doesn't really faze me too much. I quite enjoy the anonymity of living in such a big city. I enjoy being able to socialize when I want to, but I recognize that this comes from a place of privilege. I am capable of accessing all the hobbies that I enjoy, of traveling to see my friends. But for people who have been diagnosed with cancer, London can actually be an incredibly isolating place to live. Through my job at the hospital, I see a lot of cancer patients on a daily basis. I get to chat to them while they're waiting in clinic for appointments. And one of the things that really comes up every time I talk to them is the importance of their social network around them, their support network of family and friends that really help them to manage through their cancer care. I'm sure we all know someone who has had to go through this. I've had two granddads go through it myself, and I've been able to see that actually their reliance on my grandmothers in helping them manage hospital appointments, numerous medication that they were on, I don't know how they would have coped if they were on their own. So I was quite sad when I read a Macmillan report that said actually almost a quarter of newly diagnosed cancer patients don't have that kind of support network. So that equates to about 70,000 people who are facing cancer diagnosis and treatment alone. So what can we do to help these patients? Because actually studies have shown that they're 3 times more likely to struggle with following a treatment pathway set out for them by their oncologist. Surely there must be some kind of app or technology for that. Of course there are loads. We manage apps for every aspect of our daily lives, so healthcare and cancer care are certainly no different. There's some incredible ones, actually, really useful ones to remind you when and how to take medication. You can download your test results to take them to a new doctor without waiting for your notes to be transferred. And there's even ones that can put you in contact with doctors via video link should some part of your treatment or diagnosis be unclear to you. And that's really important in managing the practical aspects of cancer care. But it kind of makes me think, is that really enough? Is that all we need to do? So I'd like to take you back to the clinic and to some of the patients that I talked to. And there's one in particular who told me a story of a time when she was being given some bad news. And she said in that moment when the oncologist had to tell her that the scan results weren't what they hoped for, he took her hand. And that human interaction, she said, had absolutely meant the world to her. She felt in that moment that someone was with her, was there for her, and she wasn't so alone. And she kind of brushed it off as if, or maybe I've made something of nothing. But actually, I think she sort of hit the nail on the head, really. We are social creatures. We seek others at times of emotional distress. And so I think this really needs to be an aspect of cancer care that we should focus on. And actually, we have some cancer support centres which can help us to do that. We have cancer-specific ones such as the Haven for breast cancer or Overcome for ovarian cancer. But one I want to talk about in particular is Maggies. And Maggies is a centre that we have on the hospital site. It's a charity. They build these incredible structures. Each one is completely unique. And it's just a space for patients to come in. And the idea is that as soon as they walk through the doors, they just have a completely warm, calm, and controlled feeling. The central focal point is always a kitchen table where you can come in, make a cup of tea, sit down with other patients, have a chat about how you might be feeling, Or if actually you just need some quiet reflection time alone, there are little snug areas where you can achieve that. So the idea of Maggies actually is to treat patients in a more holistic way. They do offer the group therapy sessions and the practical advice and financial advice that other cancer centres offer. But they do place quite a big emphasis on the group and social activities that are really important in order to make those human connections. They've got activities such as yoga, expressive art, gardening, and there's a really lovely bunch of older chaps who call themselves the men at Maggies, who take themselves off Nordic walking every other week around London. My manager she puts on talks at Maggies, so I've had the opportunity to go and attend these talks and chat to patients about how they feel about the centre and what it means to them. And it is an overwhelmingly positive response. The patients talk about Maggies as if it's a lifeline. One man has even said that he's incredibly grateful for the opportunity to meet like-minded people through the expressive art group who are going through the same thing that he is. And it's a chance for patients to bond on that level with people that really understand what they're going through. So it's really heartwarming to see, actually, that 93% of patients that come to Maggies have said that it helps them to feel less alone. Unfortunately, we don't have Maggies or the Haven or an Overcome centre in every hospital. So there are still a quarter of those patients who don't have access to a support network who might be missing out on these human interactions that can really help them. And so really, as far as technology goes, it's absolutely fantastic in supporting patients on the practical aspect of care. But we really need to support our cancer care centres to provide the kind of social interactions that patients really need. Because technology can get us so far, but sometimes actually all people need is for someone to just hold their hand.